All right, what did we get up to yesterday? Ooh. Oh. Oh, okay. Ooh. Oh gosh. Is this a bigger page than I thought? Uh-oh. Yeah, all right. Uh-huh. Okay. Well, what can you do? For some reason, I thought it wasn't that big of a page. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But it's the fast day. It's Tanis Esther. And I was like, I have a hard time focusing. I saw somebody started a groove. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to jump in and knock it out. But I thought I would have enough time to do the whole thing in a groove, but I don't know, we'll have to see. It might not be enough time. Alright, what can I tell you? Well, I guess we may as well get in there and see if we can finish. I think I probably have about 45 minutes left, so let's see. Let's see if I can do this stuff in 45 minutes. I don't remember if it's hard or not. I can't. It's the end of the fast. I got I don't know, not that much time left in the fast, maybe an hour and a half. So it's towards the end of the fast day, and so we'll see, but that should be fine. I think my brain should be all right. I woke up early. Before the fast day, I had 2 coffees and breakfast, all before 4:29. Let's go weiter. I have mahalach for fast days. My mahalach for fast days is, here's the thing. And it's funny, I was in a groove today with somebody who she does Ramadan, and so we were trading tips, like how to work during fasting. I mean, she's fasting a whole month. I'm just fasting for one day, but anyways, we fast 6 times a day, so 6 times a year. So I kind of I figured out a mahalach that works for me, which is I find it difficult to do creative work when I'm hungry, when I'm fasting and stuff. I would not be able to do creative work right now. I would not be able to code right now. But kind of doing Babylon Talmud stuff where everything is, you just the page is there, you just gotta, it doesn't require that much creative stuff. You just gotta push through the mush kind of. It's about being determination. So you can have determination. So that's my mahalach is. Usually when I wake up, I'm spending so much time. Usually when I get up, that's when I prepare Babylon Talmud. But on fast days, I go straight into my work, and then I work until the afternoon. And then the afternoon, I just do a Babylon Talmud marathon. That's my mahalach. Let's go weiter. So, okay. So it says the Gemara in Daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis about 5-10 lines from the bottom. I think that's what we got up to. Omar Rove, says Rove, im timtzelome simonin lav deiraise. This is gewaldig. So if we say that simonim are not midoraise, right? So the fact that that a person who has lost an object, or so they claim, the fact that a person has lost an object and they provide signs to try and convince the finder that they are in fact the loser. So Omar Rava says Ravim Timtzelom Simonim Lav Deiraise. So if you say that Simonim are not Midoraise, Heichim Adrinan Abedasu B'Simonim. So the question is a very interesting question. It's a very interesting question. So the finder finds somebody else's object. The finder is not the owner of that object, yet somehow he has all the power to determine who gets it, in a certain sense, right? So meaning, a finder finds, I don't know, something expensive, a diamond ring, right? Okay, that sounds it's a little much. I don't know, what's something that finder finds epis. What does he find? 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 A phone! Everyone's got a phone. People lose phones. How about that? I'm happy with that example. I'm using it. A person finds a phone. Somebody's walking down the street. Lo and behold, he finds a phone. Somebody comes and says, "Oh yeah, Gival, that's my phone. It's such and such a model, such and such a device. It even had this sticker on the back." Well, that's probably Siman Muvak. But okay, whatever. He says it's yeah, I lost my phone and it's such and such a model, whatever. So the finder, how come the finder is now empowered to give away an item that he doesn't that he doesn't own, to a random person that he doesn't know from a hole in the wall, just because that person said, "Oh yeah, I lost my phone," and it's I don't know, a Samsung. So that's the shaila. He's not bringing witnesses, right? The loser is not bringing witnesses. He can bring witnesses, but but if he's providing signs, he's not bringing witnesses that right who are going to testify that is this person's phone. No, he's just saying, look, I lost my phone. It's a Samsung, whatever, and now the finder can give this phone that he does not own to this random person who he doesn't know, who just provided a sign. So that's the shaila. It's an interesting shaila, right? So again, Amar Rav says, so if you're going to say that the ability to give back a lost, to return a lost object, because the loser or the purported loser, the person who claims to be a loser, provides a sign. If simanon are not midoraisa, how can we return somebody else's object to somebody just because they provided signs, if signs are not midoraisa? So answer the Gemara, because it's beneficial for the finder. What goes around comes around. It's beneficial for the finder to return this lost object by the production of a sign. If they could produce a sign, because what goes around comes around. If a loser comes and says, look, yes, I lost my phone, it's a Samsung, and the finder can give it back to the loser, well then, if the finder becomes a loser and he loses his phone, he would want that when he finds the finder and says, look, I lost my phone, it's a Samsung, that he will be able to get his phone back. Yes, look, it's ended the fastest, so there's no guarantees that I'm not going to be mixing up words and things. But anyway, so what goes around comes around, and that's why the finder can return it, because just like he's going to return it to a loser, so also if he's a loser, so then he'll be able to get it back, and he'll no longer be a loser. Who wants to be a loser? Amar le Rav Safra, the Rav says Rav Safra to Rav, I don't understand. A person can do something for his own benefit with somebody else's stuff? Again, as I pointed out, this phone doesn't belong to the finder. He doesn't own the phone, yet he has the power to give it away. We're saying that he could just give it away for essentially for his own interest. He doesn't own the phone. He's not the one who lost it. He's giving it to some guy who provides a sign with his own interest in mind, because that way if he loses his own phone, then he'll be able to get it back. Can you do that? Can you do something to look out for your own interest with somebody else's property? Ella, rather, nichale, libala veda, rather, it's taka beneficial for the loser, that the loser, right, the person who lost the phone, they want that they should be able to get back their own phone by providing a sign. I mean, wouldn't that be just the worst? That not only did you lose your phone, but you can't get it back because you're trying to prove that it's yours and they won't accept it. No, it's in the interest of the losers of the world that they should be able, right, the losers themselves would prefer a world in which losers would be able to provide signs and be believed and get things back. So it's actually in their interest. It's in the interest of the losers to be able to provide signs and then to be able to get back that which they have lost. Because I guess there is a risk that maybe somebody else will be able to provide signs for your item, but ultimately they would prefer to be able to get back their things by providing signs. Made the yada the Adam Laisley, because the loser knows that he doesn't have witnesses that it's his phone. And he says, and he says, look, at the end of the day, random people won't be able to give a sign like I will be able to give a sign. Why, by the way, when it says siman muvak here, I don't think it literally means siman muvak, an undoubtedly unique description, or like for example that hole next to a particular letter on a get, right? Like something that is undeniable, in that case, I think in any case you'd be able to get it back. But we're talking about just general descriptions. I don't know exactly what a general description would be, but a Samsung Galaxy S something, I don't know, I'm not so familiar with the Samsungs, but to have an iPhone 15 Pro or whatever, I don't know. I know what my phone is. Ich weiß nicht. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. It's hard to. What exactly is considered a siman versus a siman muvak? I guess a siman muvak is something like it had a particular crack, like at a certain part of the screen. Like I guess that's probably siman muvak, but maybe something like that could be more general, specific yet general. It's like to say I lost a phone and it's an iPhone 15 Pro. Maybe that would be like a siman. So I'll be able to give descriptors of what I lost, v'shakana, and I'll be able to get it, v'shakana, and I'll be able to get it back. So it's taka in the interest of the loser to be able to do this. Elo odetnan, rather that which we learned in a Mishnah. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, echad alove mishlosha. Oh dang! For some reason I thought that this wasn't going to be a long daf, but I'm seeing it is. I don't think I'll be able to do it in one groove. All right, whatever. But maybe, who knows, maybe it'll speed up, but it looks big. It looks big. I don't think it's a hard daf, but wow, it's taking longer. Okay, whatever. The groove was still good because it just gave me a kick in the butt to say, okay, I'm doing this now and stop doing whatever else I was working on. That which we learned in a Mishnah. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, Mrs. Shimon ben Gamliel, Echad alove mishlosha. We had learned the other day that if you find 3 documents, and the common denominator on these 3 documents is the borrower. There are 3 separate lenders, but 1 borrower. So we say return it to the borrower, because it's probably, we can assume it's his. If you found 3 loan documents, and the common denominator is the lender, that there are 3 separate borrowers, but 1 lender, so you return it to the malve, to the lender, because if it's the same lender for all 3 documents, so it's probably his. Return it to him. I guess he provides signs or whatever, or I guess it has his name on it. And you can return it to him. Nichale lilove. I think it's a kasha. But nichale lilove la'adure le'lemalva. I don't understand. The whole logic that we just said is that it's in the benefit of the loser that that somebody should be able to provide that he should be able to provide signs again and back. But in this case, if potentially we don't know who lost it, potentially the borrower could have lost these documents in theory, and a borrower would not want that a lender should just be able to provide signs about the document and get it back and be able to collect with it again. So it's not always in the interest of the loser to be able to provide signs, not if the loser is a borrower. So Amar Lei, so I think his Rav responds, Hasam Svaru, yeah, but over there it's a different, it's logical, because Echad Alove Mishlosha Yachzir Lelove, that when the common denominator in the 3 documents is the borrower, so you return it to the borrower, the Gabe Love Shchiche, Gabe Mavelo Shchiche, because these 3 documents would be by the borrower, not by the lenders, right? There are 3 separate lenders with 1 borrower, right? So we can assume that the documents were with the borrower. Shmamina Milov and Afel means that they fell from the borrower. Shlosha shalavu me'echad, when you have 3 borrowers from 1 lender, you return it to the lender, the gabi malva shchiche, gabi lovelo shchiche, because they're, right, all 3 documents were with the lender, not with the, assorted borrowers. Okay, but what about the following Mishnah? We learned that if you have a roll, I think we said, of documents, or a bundle of documents, you shall return them. So so here there aren't necessarily different borrowers and stuff, I think, right? So, right, it could have fallen from the borrower, and why are you able to return it to the lender. It's not in the borrower's interest. Ella Amarava rather says Rava Simonim de Oraisa. Rather says Rava, you know what? Simonim are de Oraisa. Because the pasuk says V'haya imcha ad rosh achicha also. Because the pasuk says that if you find something, you have to you hold on to it until your fellow comes to be doresh it, to ask for it back. And would it actually enter your mind that you should return it to the loser before he requests it back? Obviously not. If you knew who it was, you would have given it to him. The whole point is you don't know who lost it. So obviously you're not going to give it back to him until he comes and claims it. Rather, what it means is adrosh achicha also darsheyu. Look into him, investigate him, ishtikol. Im ramoyu or in ramoy, to see, is he a trickster or is he not a trickster? And how can you tell if he's a trickster or not? La b'simonin. So is it not that you say, give me a sign? If you can't give me a sign, you're a trickster. If you can give me a sign, you're not a trickster. Shmamino, so we see that from the fact that we mentioned adro, right, from this drosh, and we say to do a shtickle investigation, and the way that you determine is by a simin, so it must mean that the Torah is saying that simonim amidoraisa. Or my Rava says, Rava im timtzelom simonim doraisa. If you want to say that simonim amidoraisa, what do you mean im timtzelomar? Hapashatle simonim doraisa. What do you mean? If you're going to say that simonim doraisa, didn't you just say that simonim adoraisa, and you brought a pasuk from adrosh achicha also? But yesterday we asked a kasha. Yesterday we said that maybe when it says, how do you know that he's not a trickster? If he brings witnesses, it doesn't necessarily mean simonim. It could be edim. So therefore it's not a conclusive proof. So therefore it says Rava, if we say that simonim are in fact midoraisa, so simonin v'simonin yaniach. So what if you have two people who are claiming the item? What do we say? The phone. Phone is such a boring example. What else can we give? I don't know. I don't need an example right now. So if you have two people claiming the item, and each one provides signs for the item, so yaniach. So the finder needs to just leave it. He can't give it back. He doesn't. Who's he going to give it back to? Both are providing signs. So he leaves until Elijah the prophet comes and tells him who to give it to. Simonin ve'edim, if one loser provides signs and the other loser provides witnesses, in the va'edim, obviously you give it to the one who provides the witnesses. Simonin ve'simonim, if both losers provide signs, simonin, if one loser provides signs, v'simonin ve'erechad, but the other loser provides signs, but also a one witness. Well, erechad command delesi. I mean, one witness, as we know, is worthless. Is not, doesn't really count for much. You can make you swear, but it's not. One witness isn't going to help you over here. So it's as if he doesn't exist, dummy, and therefore. Right, it's lazy dummy, and therefore you basically have signs versus signs, which we said v'aniach, and you just leave them be until Elijah the prophet comes and tells you which loser to give it to. Eide ariga ve'eide nefila. If you have two losers that come to claim a like a sweater or something, one of them says, "Look." One of them produces witnesses that he wove the sweater. The other one produces witnesses that it fell from him. So tinosin le'edei nefila. So it goes to the witnesses who say who it fell from. Because the person who wove it could have sold it subsequently. So it's more important who it ultimately fell from. Midas arko, midas rachbo. If you have a cloak, and one of them testifies about how tall, how long the cloak is. The other one says how wide the cloak is. Tinosan midas arko, you give it to one who provides the measurement of the length. To midas rachbo shauri kamishayerle kad michzele mara vikai. Right, because the width of the cloak is not so difficult to estimate, because you see it around the width of his body. It's not that hard, but the length is more difficult. Because the length is going to be longer, it'll be harder to get it right. Umidas orko, but the length lo mishtayr la, it will be more difficult to get right, to estimate, to guesstimate correctly. Midas orko, midas rochbo, umidas gomov. I think it means if like one person testifies about the length and the width, and the other one provides like the area, like the combined length and width or something. You know, in the midas orko v'rachba, you give it to the one who provides the length and the width. Okay, because that's like more difficult, I guess. Midas orko, midas rachma, midas mishkalosav. If one person provides the length and width, but the other one provides the weight, tinas and midas mishkalosav, give it to the one who provides the weight, because I guess that's more difficult to know than those other things. The length and width. Who omer simoni aget, v'hi omer simoni aget. Okay, so if we're talking about who to give a divorce document to, but do you give it to the wife, and therefore she has it as proof that she's divorced, or do you give it to the husband because maybe he changed his mind and never gave it to her? So if they could if they both provide signs about the identifiers about the get, saying law, give it to her because let's go weiter. B'mai. What kind of signs are we talking about? If we're just talking about the length and width of the document, maybe she just got a glance of it when he was holding it, and that's not actually a definitive proof. Rather, it would be something more significant, like there was a hole next to a particular letter, and therefore, if she knows about this siman, so you can assume, how does she know about it? Because she already had it. It's hers. They're divorced. Hu omer simoni achut, vi omer simoni achut. If they both provide signs about the thread in which the get was sewn with. Why were they sewing the get? I don't know. Saying law, give it to her. B'mai. What are we talking about? If we're talking about they're testifying about whether it was a white thread or a red thread. Maybe she just saw the thread when he was holding it. El b'midas orko. Rather, we're talking about the length of the thread. He omer b'chafisa, who omer b'chafisa, vi omer b'chafisa. Right? Both of them say that that the get was in like a briefcase or something. Saying law, you give it to him. My time made the yadu the choma de isle b'chafisa u'de monachle. Because for her to say that the get was in a briefcase is a no-brainer. She knows that everything he has, he puts in a briefcase. In like a leather kind of bag. So therefore it doesn't actually really prove anything. Interesting. So it seems like these signs need to, you have like a siman muvak, like nekev b'tzad os ploni, that's like a siman muvak, that's like undeniable. But then you have something like it's in a briefcase, like, okay, that's not that much. It seems like, something like the length of a thread of it, I guess, maybe that's more of like a siman muvak as well. I don't know, what exactly is a siman that's like not a siman muvak? Maybe the leather thing it would be just considered like a regular siman. Maybe that is the point. Maybe like the leather briefcase would maybe in general normally be considered a regular siman, and that's what we're talking about. But because they both provide the simanim, that's why it doesn't. So then who do you believe? Well, her proof isn't that strong because he always puts stuff in that briefcase, I guess. So I think actually that the daf starts moving quicker now, but I guess it's not that small of a daf, but. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll make it on time, or at least I'll get close. All right. Says the Mishnah. Mosai chayav lehachriz. Now, okay, when does this guy announce it? Right? Meaning, the guy finds something, and there's the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. Right? So, meaning, if it's harei shelo, if he can keep it, he can keep it. There's nothing to do. But if he has to return it, so we say he has to make an announcement. So tell okay, when does he? What's the deal with these announcements? Until when does he have to announce? Meir says until the neighbors know about it. Okay, the Gemara is going to talk about which neighbors are we talking about. Rabbi Yehuda Omer says, Rabbi Yehuda shalosh regalim. You have to announce it for 3 festivals. And you also have to announce it for 7 days following the third of those festivals if it has not yet been claimed. 7 days is enough time so that a person after the festival can quickly hustle home. Take 3 days to get home. 3 days to get back. Right, and he'll go home. He'll quickly search to see if he lost anything, and if necessary, he'll go back to Yerushalayim for 3 days. And he can try to find the finder one day and try to get it back. So a week, we're saying, is enough time for him to get back to his house after the festival, and if necessary, return to Yerushalayim and find the finder and say, hey, I'm the guy you're looking for. Says the Gemara, Tana, Shchene Aveda So we're saying, right, so Reb Meir said that you have to announce it for enough time until the neighbors know about it. The neighbors of what? So we say the neighbors of the lost item. My shcheni aveda. What does it mean, the neighbors of the lost item? Ilem shchenim de bal aveda. If it means the neighbors of the loser, if he knows who the loser is, then he should just return it to the loser. Why is he speaking to the neighbors of the loser? Speak to the loser himself, return it. No, rather the place. He's got to tell all the people around where he found it, like, people, I found this thing. Okay. Rabbi Yudah says, they have to wait, you have to announce it for 3 festivals. We have a contradiction. Right, and then we said that after the 3rd festival, you have to wait. We're going to get to this soon. But basically, I think the idea, the concept is thus. That you find Epis, and then at the Shalosh Regalim, when all the Yidden are in Yerushalayim, so then you announce, hey, I found Epis. I found Epis. That's what you announce. And then, if nobody claims it, so then the next of the regalim, you announce it again, and maybe somebody will claim it this time. And then if nothing, so in the 3rd festival, you announce it. And then after so now, on each of the first 2 festivals, you were planning to come back. So you don't have to stick around for 7 days after each of the first 2, because you're always coming back for the next festival. Once you have the 3rd festival, and you're announcing it on the third and final festival, then you give another 7 days to give somebody an opportunity that if they heard you announce it, they can go home and check to see if they lost something, and then come back and claim it. But the first 2 festivals, you announce that somebody's lost. If somebody thinks, oh wait, maybe that's mine, then they can go home and check, and they can come back on the next festival. But after the 3rd and final one, you wait for 7 days. So the question is 7 days really enough to get back home and search for this potentially lost thing? So, V'aminu, we have a contradiction. B'shlosha b'mar cheshvin, on the 3rd day of Mar Cheshvan, she'al nesagashomim, that is when we start praying, Mashivaruch, v'sein tal u'matur levracha. Rabbi Gamliel Omer, b'zayin bo, Rabbi Gamliel says, no, you only start praying for rain on the 7th of Mar Cheshvan. Tezvav yom acher echog, which is 15 days after Sukkot, kidei shegia achrin, so Eretz Yisrael or Yisrael Linar Pras, right? Because that's enough time for everybody to get to the furthest reaches of Eretz Yisrael. So on the one hand, our Mishnah is saying that it takes 3 days to get home, 3 days to get back to Yerushalayim, right? So it sounds like you can get anywhere in Eretz Yisrael from Yerushalayim in 3 days. Yet the Mishnah in Tainus is talking about 15 days. So Amar Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef lo kasha. It's no problem. Kan b'mikdash rishin, kan b'mikdash sheni. Ho ho. It depends if we're talking about the first temple or the second temple. But mikdash rishin, in the first temple, the nefisha Yisrael tuva, that there were lots and lots and lots of Yidden. Dichsiv is the pasuk. Dichsivu, the pasuk says Yehuda v'Yisrael, that Judah and Israel, Rabim kuchol asher al ayom, they were so numerous like the sand on the sea. Larov, there were so many of them. So ba'inon kulei hai. Alright. So because there were so many people, I don't know, maybe there were traffic jams, so there were more people, it took longer to get places. Alright. But mitasheni de lo nefisha Yisrael tuva, or maybe because there were so many people, maybe people had to move far out, right? There wasn't so much place in the cities and they had to go far away, whatever, the suburbs, far out, whatever, incentives in order to go to other places, whatever it might be. But in the second temple, there weren't so many people, so it was easier, I guess people lived closer to Yerushalayim, and it was easier to get there and back within 3 days. That there weren't so many Yidden during the second temple. It says, Kol HaKol, that the entire Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, Ke'echad Arba Ribo, Kol HaKol Ke'echad Arba Ribo, so 40,000, Alpayim, 42,000, Shlosh Meos, 42,300, Vishishim, and 60, 42,360. Lo ba'ina kulei ai, so you didn't need so much time to get to your place. I guess, people didn't have to spread out as much. Omelei Abaye. Abaye says to Yosef, but it says by the second temple people, Vayeshva ke'anim v'alevim v'gomer, v'amishoyirorim v'asharim v'chol Yisrael ba'areim, that all the people lived in their cities, in the far out cities, in all the cities. So even in the second temple, the people were far away. And says Abaye, now this being the case, I would say punkt verkehrt. I would say punkt verkehrt. That in the first temple, because there were so many people, it was taka quicker to get where you need to go. There was more transportation, more options, more readily available. Mikdash Rishon the Nefisha Yisrael Tuva. That in the first temple there were lots of Yidden, the Matzvas Alma, that people would join together. There were mamish, there was transportation 24/7. You never had to wait. Lo ba'inon kulehai. So it didn't take that long to get wherever you want to go somewhere. Sure, there's a wagon that's ready to take you right now. V'sagi b'tlas hayoma, you can get anywhere you need to go in 3 days. Miktasheni, however, in the second temple, Deloy Nefishe Yisrael Tuva, where there weren't so many Yidden, and maybe if you needed to travel someplace, maybe there wasn't a wagon going for another 2 days. Who knows? V'lo mitzvahs alma, you couldn't just join together with people on the fly in the same way. V'lo mishtachche shayarta da'azli bein b'imam v'im b'leil. There aren't constantly wagons that are traveling at any hour of the day or at the night. But in kulei, so it takes take longer. Rava Amar says, Rava loshna b'mikdash rishon v'loshna b'mikdash sheni. Rava says, look, this has nothing to do with how far you can travel. Rather, at the end of the day, lo yitrichu rabbanan ba'avei yosim midai. Look, I mean, the other alternative is the finder needs to stick around in Yerushalayim for another month. Right? If you live out, in the boondocks, and it's going to take you 15 days to get home, 15 days to get back, the finder now needs to stay in Yerushalayim for another month. So therefore the point is stays for another week, and that's it. We don't bother him too much. Ravina says, Ravina Shmamina, says Ravina, that we can see Ki machriz glima machriz. We're going to see later on today that there's a machloikes. Do you announce just simply, I found something, and then the finder needs to say, well, I lost a garment, and these are its signs? Or do you say, I lost a garment, and then somebody can say, oh, great. Wait, what? Found. I'm sorry. Do you announce that you found something, and then somebody says, well, I lost a garment, and these are its signs? Or do you say, I found a garment, and somebody simply comes and says, oh, great, I lost a garment, these are its signs. So, says Ravina that this shows that you actually announced that you that you found a garment. Right? Because if it enters your mind that he just announces, I found something, and he doesn't say what it is, well then then you would have to give him a whole day at home to try to go over all of his possessions and see if he lost something, because the finder is being vague. Right? The fact that we say that it takes him 3 days to come home, he quickly checks and then gets right back on the road for 3 days, and then goes and tells the finder the next day, on the seventh day. So that means that he's going home already knowing that he's looking for a cloak. Not that he needs to go over everything in his house and see, did I lose a cloak? Maybe I lost a hammer. Maybe I lost a pot. He goes over everything. So from the fact that we're saying that no, he's just quick, he goes home, checks, and comes back, it must mean that that what's being announced is not simply that something was found, but specifically what was found, so that somebody can go home and quickly check if they lost that thing. So it must be that you actually announce the item that was found. Rav Omar says, even if you say that you announce just simply that something was lost, well, if that's the case, well then shouldn't the potential loser need more time to check all of his stuff? So, but again, still, we're not going to bother the finder so much to have to, wait so long. So we say 7 days is enough to wait and see if anybody is going to take you up on your find. Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught. Regel Rishon Omer. So, okay, like I was saying before, so when you find something, so then the first of the festivals, Omer Regel Rishon, so the first festival you say, going once, right? You say, okay, I found something. This is one of three announcements. Regel Sheni. Omer Regel Sheni. Then comes the second festival. If nobody's claimed it yet, you announce the find another time. You say, people, going twice. Regel Shlishi, the third time around, Omer Stam, he just says, I found something, and he doesn't say that, and this is the third and final call. Why? Lema Regel Shlishi. Why not say, this is the third regel? Well, because if you say, once already you start mentioning a number, then people get confused which number it was, right? You say 3, somebody thinks you said 2, and they think that they're, okay, fine, so I'll come back the next time and say it, but they don't realize that really time is out. So therefore you just say, I found something, if you want it, come and claim it now. Sheni Nami, but then why do you even mention on the second time that it's time number 2? Maybe somebody would think you said time number 1. Yeah, but so what? What's the worst that'll happen? You said it's the second time. Somebody would think you said the first time. So they'll come back the next time, but you'll be there the next time anyways, because the next time will be the third time. So there's really nothing to worry about there. But the third time, you don't mention a number because maybe then you'll get confused and think you have another chance. Taner Rabbanon, the rabbis taught Barishona initially, Kol mi shemotza aveda oyo machuz aleh shlosh regalim. Initially, somebody who found Epis would announce about it for 3 festivals. V'achar regel achrin shivas yomim, and then after the third festival for another week. Kedei sheyelech shlosha v'yachzor shlosha v'yachzor yechad, so that somebody can go has 3 days to get home, 3 days to get back, and then 1 day to find the finder and start showing his signs. Mishachara beis hamikdash sheibonu b'meir v'yameinu. Amen. That from the time that the temple was destroyed, may it be rebuilt speedily in our days. So then they enacted that the announcements should be in the synagogues, in the study halls. But once the anosim, which we're going to explain in a second, became numerous, so then they said, look, we don't need these big public proclamations anymore. You just, you go around, you see, hey, did anybody lose this thing? The people he knows, neighbors, things like that, and that suffices. Who are these anosim that because of them we don't want these, it to be publicly known that things were found? The Amri Avidasa Lemalka. It's that they say that lost objects go to the king. So like as we're going to see in a second, I think we're going to see in a second, that like the Persians or whatever, that the Persians, the mahalach would be anything that's lost goes to the king. And therefore, if you start making a big public announcements that you found something, they're going to say, well, it goes to the king. That's annoying. So what about the mitzvah of Shavas Aveda? So in order to do a Shavas Aveda, we have to kind of keep things a little bit quieter. Reb Ami Ashkach Udya the Dinrei, Reb Ami found a bunch of gold dinars. I believe that's what it's saying. Reb Ami found a vessel of gold dinar coins. All right. Chazeu Barnash de Kamarasis. Now there was a person there who saw that Reb Ami was nervous. He was a Roman. Right, a certain Roman saw that Reb Ami was nervous. So Amalei Zil Shkol and Avshach, the Roman says, look, take it for yourself. I don't care. Tzal Parsayon, we're not Persians. That the Persians, it's Mamish Tainis Esther. This is the Purim story in Persia. So the Persians, they would say that everything goes to the king, as we see, right? What does it say? Whatever. Achashverosh, he took whatever he wanted. Even the women in Persia, he took whatever he wanted. So the Persians, anything went to the king. So says the Roman, I'm not Persian. I don't do that. There was a stone in Jerusalem. Kol misha avdala aveda, and anybody who lost epis nifne l'sham would go there. And v'chol misha motze aveda, and anybody. Wait, what? What did I just say? Yes, what? Kol misha avdala aveda, anybody who lost epis nifne l'sham would go there. V'chol misha motze shemotze aveda, and anybody who found epis nifne l'sham would go there. And it would be like a big shidduch market. You would have all the finders and all the losers. They would all go there. And they would start making shidduchim. You have people going up and announcing, and people say, providing signs, identifications, and they would take it. This was by Choni HaMaigel, that when he prayed for rain, so they went to see if the rain had already exceeded this stone that the people would get up on and say, I found Epis. And then the people would come and there was that special stone. Very, very interesting. Says the Mishnah, Amar, what? Yes. Amar Savedivlo, Amar Si Monel. So if the loser comes to try and get back what he claims to be his lost object, and he says, I lost the phone. Amar Si Monel, but he didn't give any more signs than that. Lo yite lo, so you don't give it to him. Baramoi, when it comes to a trickster, afapisha amar simonea, even if he gives signs, lo yitain lo, we don't give it to him. Shenemar's Bible says adrosha chichoso, until your fellow comes for it. Ad shetidrosh esachicha. Im Ramayu, im Eno Ramay, till you do a shtickle research on your brother to see if he is a trickster or not. And the Gemara is going to discuss this. Idmar, says the Gemara, is machlekes between Rav Yehuda and Rav Nachman. Rav Yehuda Amar says Rav Yehuda, Avedosa machris. Oh, so as we mentioned a few minutes ago, this machlokes. So Rav Yehuda says that you just say, I found something. You don't say that you found the phone. You say you found something. Rav Nachman Amar glima machris. Okay, a garment. Forget about the phone. I don't like the phone thing. The garment. So Rav Nachman says, no, you say that you actually found the garment. You've actually found the garment. So Rav Yehuda says, I found something. Rav Nachman says, no, what he says is, I found the garment. Rav Yehuda Amar Avedosa machris. Rav Yehuda says that you, that you say that you just found something. And the Amar glima machris, because if you say that you found a garment, chashinan l'ramoy, we're concerned about a trickster. That maybe there's some trickster who overheard somebody saying, oh, I lost my garment, oy vavoy, what do I do? And maybe finds about a simon or something, and this trickster, apparently, if he hears somebody announce that a garment was found, he's gonna, pop up and he's gonna say, oh yeah, right, yeah, it's my garment, and here are the signs. But Rav Nachman Amar glima machris. Rav Nachman says, no, you can announce about the garment itself, because the Ramai lo chashina deimkein ein ledavar sof. We're not concerned about the Ramai because otherwise there's no end. If you're like Rav Yehuda, like for his thing, he says that you just say that something, I found something. Why? Well, because we're scared. Maybe if we say the garment, so then maybe there's a story. Maybe he heard somebody said the garment, and he has the signs. And if he just hears that there was something was lost, so he won't necessarily perk up to go say something. But if he hears specifically that it was a garment, so then maybe he'll perk up and that. But he wouldn't do it if you just say the aveda. It's not super concrete. It's a little bit abstract, a little bit theoretical. So Nachman says, look, let the guy announce exactly what he found, and then the person can come and give a sign and claim it, and we're not going to, be too scared that maybe we're giving away too much. Maybe yes, maybe no, but just be straightforward. Say, this is what we found. If it's yours, come and prove it. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, Omar es ha'avedav lo Omar es simonel. So if he just said the thing that he was found, right? If he just says the thing that he lost, right, that was found, but he didn't give any signs, so you don't give it to him. Now, look, so I understand if you're announcing simply that, right, the finder says, I found something, but he doesn't say what he found. Okay, I get it. What it's saying is that it's not enough to just say that you lost a garment. Even though he says, I lost a garment, if he can't give identifiers about the garment, lo marginal, we don't return it to him. But if we're saying that what the finder announces is, I found a garment, I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't understand. The finder says, I found a garment. The loser, the theoretical loser says, well, perfect, I lost the garment. Do I need to even say? It goes without saying that when you can't give any identifiers about it, other than the finder says, I found the garment, the loser says, oh, that's perfect, I lost the garment. Can you tell me more about it? No. Obviously we won't give it to him. Rav Safra says, look, in fact, we do announce, the finder does announce that a garment was found. So what's happening, in fact, is that the finder says, I found a garment. The loser says, I lost a garment, and here are the signs. What does it mean that he didn't give signs? Interesting. He can't give any siman muvhaks. That's very interesting. That's actually really interesting. It didn't hit me like it's hitting me now. Interesting. So the Mishnah is saying, that's very interesting. But the Mishnah is saying what? So it sounds to me like what we're saying, according to this Mishnah, is that you need to provide a siman muvak. It's not right. So it's not enough to just give a basic sign. It would have to be a siman muvak, according to this Mishnah. Right. Interesting. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. So now a trickster, even though he gives signs, you cannot give it to him. Tanarabanan, the rabbis taught in a brayso. So the rabbis taught, Barishona kol misha of the lo aveda. Initially, anybody who lost epis, saying simanin vinotla, he would just give simanim and then he would be able to take it. Misharabu aramoin. But once there were lots of tricksters around, hiskinu sheyu omrim lo sevahave edim delav ramoyat. Interesting. Vitol. So initially, you would just provide a siman and that was enough. But then people got very tricky. And then what would happen is, it wasn't enough just to provide a sign. You would also have to find two witnesses who could vouch for you that you are an honest person. Kiha, Davod Rav Papa, like the father of Rav Papa, Irkis lechamra ve'ashkechua, he had lost the donkey and it was found. Also the comment the Rabba by Rafuna came for Rabba by Rafuna, Amar le. And Rabbi Rafuna says to him, Zil, I see side go and bring witnesses to Lav Ramayat Vitol, that you are an honest person, that you are not a trickster, and then you can take your donkey back. Also, I see side he came and he brought witnesses, Amarlu, and Rabbi Rafuna says to them, Yad Isun Bey Diramayu, do you know about Rav Papa's father, do you know that he is a trickster? Amrule in, they said yes. Amarlu, Ana Rabba, Ana. Rav Papa's father says, what? I'm a trickster? Oh, we thought you were saying that you are not a Ramoy. So Amr Rabbi Rav Huna says, Rabbi Rav Huna, okay, Beseder, Mistaver lo maisi inish chavas lenafshe. Okay, we can trust that, yeah, they meant to say that he's not a Ramoy, because why would Rav Papa bring witnesses to testify against him? The whole point was to testify that he's a good guy, so yeah, they're probably saying that he's a good guy. Wow. We did a lot today. Wow, I didn't think it was going to be such a big daf, and turned out to be not a small daf. I don't know how long it is, but anyways. We talked about interesting stuff, right? Like about, first we said, if you say that it's derabanan, simanim are derabanan, well, how can we return it? Ultimately, I think we ended up saying, like, well, actually, we're going to assume that it's taka deraisa. Talked about announcing it, and how long do you have to announce for it? Machlokas, Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda. Rav Meir said you just have to tell the neighbors. Rav Yehuda said that you have to announce it on the Shalosh Regalim. And then we talked about how at a certain point it became, you couldn't really announce lost things because then it would have to go to the king. So you just kind of tell people who you know, and then that seems to be enough. And then we got to the machlokas about what exactly do you announce. Rav Yehuda says that you announce just simply that you found something. Rav Nachman says that you announce that you announce, that you found, a garment, right? You announce what you found, and then people give signs about it. Okay, then we said that ultimately giving signs wasn't enough, and they had to actually prove that they're honest people with witnesses. Friends, that was daf. I can't remember. Chav Ches, I think, of Masechta. BavaMetzia. Peace out.